Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Dylan, did you know that the yen
Alex,
is down?
I heard. It took me so a little bit of video game update as everybody loves to hear. I beat Kingdom Hearts 2 and I beat uh 14 of the 15 secret bosses because there's the entire organization 13, which is a secret boss. You have to beat all 13 of them. And there's Sephiroth, and then there's the Lingering Will. It took me 4 hours yesterday or the day before to beat Lingering Will. My excuse for that, my reasoning, was not because I needed to get good. It was because the yen is down. I will begin I will begin blaming the yen on every minor inconvenience in my life, as wrestling fans like to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty sound strategy so far. I think it's working out quite
Zero
well.
misses, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I saw someone write a whole diatribe about like the issues in New Japan and just randomly was like, the yen is down. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I guess. Like, and and I'm sorry to get into like this, but a friend of mine, like a casual friend of mine who like is kind of into New Japan, but like not like, he sent me like something about the yen being down. I was like, what does this even mean? I was like, oh, like the Japanese yen, it's down, and that's why New Japan is failing. And he's just like, that's not how that works. And I was like, I know. And he goes, like the housing crisis isn't why WWE's bad. And you get like, what are we talking about right now? And yeah, I just found that funny.
you lost me with
Yeah.
all of that, but you know what? That's fine.
Basically, he was like, the economy being bad is such a funny reason to say that like a company is creatively doing poorly, or just not hiring the people you want to hire, or whatever. Like he just found it very funny.
Okay, that's fair, honestly. Well, this is brought to you by the 5 Star Network. Head on over to the 5 Star Network for all of the latest articles, podcasts, interviews from the wonderful world of pro wrestling. I know there's the wrestle update thing.
Mm.
um I know, Actress Stage is gonna have a second episode soon. Your show with Xavier exists. I don't know what you guys are
It will
doing.
be. We are going to be recording Monday, so that'll be out in the next couple weeks.
That's good. Yeah, I
Yes,
like subtly had to turn on my charger there. So
very subtle.
otherwise, yeah, this would have been disastrous. Because yeah, my laptop's battery is kind of ruined. That's what
That's
plugging
not
it in
good.
all the time
And isn't
does.
your electricity going out like for a few
Tomorrow,
hours?
yeah, but I won't be here. It's fine.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's yeah, we plan ahead.
Well, yeah. Speaking of the 5 Star Network, I guess I just won't be releasing any new articles before the end of the year because somebody decided in the middle of me writing a article about his faction, decided to kill his faction. So thanks, Ren Narita.
Yeah,
Fuck
I saw
me.
that today.
I got 2,500 words in, and then it just doesn't make sense no more. There's no point.
This is why you can't
Uh,
trust New Japan. You
yeah,
know,
no, you're
you
right.
just
You're right.
you
I'm
can't
gonna
do it.
start writing about TMDK, and then Zach's gonna leave, and I'm just gonna give up. You know what I mean? Like that's I
Mm,
don't wanna be here.
yeah. Well, on the world of Stardom, um, we had it's been a quiet enough week aside from the pay-per-view, which is good. There were too many chaotic weeks from Stardom.
Mm.
The only kind of stuff is that they've announced some of the matches for the year-end climax show at Corkin. and some of the matches for Dream Queendom in Sumo Hall. The Corkin, we got a preliminary battle for Queen's Quest versus Way to
Tell me if you've
Tai
ever seen this one before.
elimination match. Um, Utami, Saya, Azumi, Lady C, Hina, and Miyu Amasaki versus Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Rocka, Rina, and Fukigen Death.
Wait, did you say Lady
In
C?
yes,
Okay.
I hope so. Um, so yeah, that's a very original match, very original stipulation between these
This time
two
the clown's
groups.
there.
They've definitely never had elimination matches at Cork and this year. Um, you know, but it's fine. Queen's Quest got the
I'm
gang
pretty.
back together. They
The
got to
funny thing is I'm
celebrate.
pretty sure they've done an elimination match between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai at like every notable venue they run regularly at this point. Because they did it in
Probably.
Takodana, they did it in Osaka, they've done it in Korakuen Hall a million times. Uh, they just they like they like that matchup.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
they
blame them.
work.
You know,
It's
yeah.
it's one of the only feuds between factions that still exists, I feel like, because
Well,
like
yeah, because Cosmic Angels is not a thing
yeah,
anymore.
Cosmic Angels is 1.5 people, as is its rival group Club Venus, which
Yeah,
is 1.5 people. So yeah, we don't got many of those to prop us up anymore. So you gotta rely on Queen's Quest and a way to tie. The matches official for Sumo Hall, on the other hand, are Suzuki versus Maika for the World of Stardom Championship. Mirai defending against Soriano for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and Utami Hayashishita and Sai Kamatani defending against Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe in a tag
XO.
title match. So we have 3 matches, only 3 so far, which isn't a lot, but
And it's kind of concerning, um, because they don't really have any more shows. Like they have this year-end tour that's happening, where stuff can happen. But like looking at the match cards, I don't know how much stuff. Like it feels like that we're gonna get another Haruka Umasaki coming out on a house show that nobody cared about and being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the semi-main event. Is that cool with everybody?" Cool.
yeah, I
At least
think
we have the top three matches sorted. But it's still it's strange to have nothing but those. Even like no idea of what can happen. You know what I mean?
yeah, and there's no space in the schedule for a press conference either. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like you don't have a lot of space to announce a card.
I mean, I
Um,
guess like 12th, 13th, 14th. I think next week is
Is
probably the
that's a bit
time they
late
would do
though.
that.
I feel like that's a bit late. I saw a Japanese fan say that I think it was the 8th of December last year where they had announced
Mm.
like all of it, and now we have none of it.
And they'll be in Kobe on Sunday, so they won't do it on Monday because that's a long
Yeah,
trip.
because there's gonna
So the
have to be a
earliest
press
would be the
conference
12th.
soon because there's a New Blood show
Mm.
in 2.5 weeks, so they're gonna have to announce stuff for that,
I
and I'd
mean,
imagine they double up.
and we're just looking at like I'm looking at the schedule right now, so I'm just looking at December. That's not even talking about 6 days later when there are another two pay-per-views to deal with. Um,
Oh yeah, they are running it's Tokyo Dome City Hall,
mhm.
just with Mayu currently
And that's
injured.
the day after their was that Yokohama Budokan show?
Yes, but I mean, listen, the Yokan Budokan is like a lock, especially on January 3rd. They're gonna get
Yeah.
like ridiculous numbers in there for no reason. Um, that's just kind of how that works. But yeah, maybe this Saturday we'll get something. Edion Arena number 2. I feel like they treat that with some reverence. You could announce something there. Um, 'Cause let's see the matches.
Mm.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I know I'm
There's a
looking.
Queen's
I don't
Quest away
see a
to
lot of
tie.
room here.
There's a Queen's Quest away to tie tag on this very show
Oh, that
because,
show.
of
That
course.
oh my god, it's 4-on-4 too. Jesus. Um,
Yeah.
that show does look interesting though.
Mm.
We'll talk about it later when we get to like the preview stuff, which we won't preview every single match from every single show because there's like 8 shows happening right now. But that
Well, there's one like
does look interesting.
tomorrow. There's a Comic Con on Friday, and then there's a
Mm.
weekend thing. So
There's
we've
also
actually
one
gone
that
past the worst
is
of it.
happening right now. Yeah, I guess we have. We're just over the hump.
Yeah. So we'll be fine. Um, I suppose the best place to start is just with the review. There's not a lot up after the pay-per-view, as you might imagine, because they are touring for like 10 days straight. Um, and they only got the other show up earlier today. Like it was 2 p.m. my time when that show went up, which is quite late, So the main focus here is going to be the pay per view, which was Stardom Nagoya Big Winter 2023, Fun Nagoya Castle. I don't know what that is, but that is part of the title. And this is in the Dolphins Arena. They had 952 fans, which I don't think they'll be pleased with, to say the least. But you know what? Them's the breaks.
How is their Nagoya number usually in that specific arena? I remember Aichi being not great for Stardom, like traditionally, but I don't know for
See,
sure.
this venue is hard to search for because they call it Dolphins Arena, but nobody else calls it that. So
Um,
let's see. New Japan ran here in July and did
Aichi
3,400,
Prefecture. Um,
3,500
yeah,
for
but
New Japan.
they did a
And
Grand Prix show that was 900. Um, they did
so
this, which
Nagoya
is
Golden Fight
a
was
1,000.
2 months ago, and this was 1,300 in Aichi. So
Oh yeah, but like looking at it, I think that was a outlier because looking at it, like their Golden Week show, their big Golden Week show, or not, that wasn't big actually. That was nothing. Yeah,
yeah, like this specific venue, they did 1,300 2 months ago, and that kind of drop off isn't good. Stardom X
they
Stardom
500 shows.
2022 was also here, and I can't remember the number for that, but I think it
It's
was
not
good.
giving a number. Yeah,
It No, it's not. That's.
Midsummer
Um,
last year was 1000, was a
yeah,
thousand. Like I
Nagoya Supreme Fight in January 22 was 1,300. So this was very much below where they usually get, and that's
yeah, but
with.
it's not like they usually hit like anything more than a few hundred more. Like I mean, it's not a good number. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah, I
but
think 400 people is not good. You need year over year improvements, and they're just not seeing that in a lot of places right now, which isn't great. And I know some of that's probably overexposure. They did just run this exact same venue 2 months ago. You are going to burn people out. So I
also,
don't know. I
this
don't
is
know what they're.
Tam's hometown. Like this is her homecoming show.
Yes,
Uh, and she was not on the card, so that also does
HB
not help.
Tam. Um, Okay, that one just
I didn't
flew.
even hear what you said. I'm gonna be
Oh,
real.
HB Tam,
I still don't get the joke. I'm gonna be real.
HBK, HB Tam.
Oh, that's not really. You could have called
Listen,
her
all
like
right.
the heartbreak middle-aged woman.
Listen, man. My football team lost. It's 11 o'clock. I don't want to be here. It is what it is. You're getting what you're getting. They're a very bad
Speaking of
team
sports for
as
one
well.
second, I am 5-0 in our fantasy league, and I'm so proud of that.
I don't know how you're doing that. And the funny thing is, the stats tell me for the last like 3 weeks, I have been the highest scorer of everybody. But I got unlucky and played two great teams early on, so I am
Mm.
3-2. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm coming for you though. I'm gonna beat you,
See,
I
the thing
think.
is that I have Anthony Davis and Giannis, and they are like the two of like the top 5 scorers right now in
Yeah, that's
fantasy.
kind of OP.
So it's like, yeah, and I also just have a pretty like level team.
Your team is great, and you let Ja Morant go.
Yep.
Like,
No,
imagine your team
I just
with
didn't.
him. That would be
Uh,
absurd.
yeah, but that I won't feel bad about that for another what 14
He's
days.
he's back soon. Yeah, he's back pretty
Yeah,
soon. You also dropped Josh Giddey, which
13.
like is totally
Well,
fair, but I
he
wouldn't
was
have done
also
that.
ass. I'm sorry, guys. I know most of you guys don't give a fuck about basketball, but as someone who I was waiting to drop him because he was like, I knew he could do good, but he just kept sucking. And I'm
Wasn't he
just
like
like,
averaging 30 points or something?
no, he was averaging like 22 at most. Not averaging. He was like, a high game would be like a 35. And
That's
like his
pretty
low games were
decent.
like 10. Like it was
Okay, that's
rough.
fair.
Like he was
Low
inconsistent as
10 seems
hell.
to be his flavor though, so
He
it's
was, yeah, that's true. He's not a big fan of over 20. Like he doesn't really shoot for that. Like he's comfy where he's at.
Oh
Um
man.
But yeah, I was just waiting for a reason to drop him, and then he turned. It turns out he was a pedo, and I was like, "That's easy."
That's fair. You know what? That's fair. I got unlucky as well because one of my best players got hit by a car.
Wait, what? How did I not know
so
this?
so Kelly Oubre Jr. was having a
Oh,
stellar
I did know
season.
that. I did
Yeah,
know that. That's so
he
fucked up.
he was he was so good with the Sixers. He had like refound his best life, and he got hit by a car,
That's
and is
insane.
missing. Like they don't even know when he's going to be
Hmm.
back. He doesn't even have an injured
I
status.
did hear
They're just
about that.
like, Brother is gone." Um. So yeah, I don't know. Apparently he's back soon, but he's on minutes restriction, so I don't think he's gonna be hitting the heights he was. So yeah,
Poor guy, and poor you.
the fantasy gods screwing me. But yeah,
You are
bad
you are
sports.
as you are equally as hurt by him getting hit by a car as he is. In fact, I would
Honestly,
argue.
yeah, I think so. I am taking this very much to heart. Okay, sports are not nice to me. So
I get it.
anyway, the opening match of this show was Mai Sakurai beating Ruaka in 5.5 minutes with the Mai Pan roll.
Did I
And you
watch
know
this?
what? It was like fine. Um,
I
you,
don't remember if I
it,
watched this. I did watch this.
yeah, of course, it was the opener. You watched the show live, Dylan.
Yes.
Um,
No, but I didn't know if I skipped the first two matches or the first match.
okay, that's fair.
Because I did only kind of see the opening match. Oh, before
Mhm.
this, Micah, who won the gotcha tournament thingy, that we kind of talked about but didn't. She got to start the show and she met a voice actor that she really liked. I was planning on going and checking who the voice actor was because it sounded familiar, um, but I didn't. So sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, anyway, my Sakurai won, and
Hmm.
it was solid. And you know what? My Sakurai is over, so I might as well give her these pay-per-view openers, let her do her promos, and just send her home.
Oh yeah.
And
Ruaka ripped up a bunch of Sakurai books because she is an anti-capitalist, if you believe it. It was a huge thing,
nice.
huge revelation for leftist circles. Yeah, this match was nothing. I'm gonna be real. Like you're overselling it a little bit.
Well, I just like I appreciate that they are into my Sakurai and said,
Hmm.
look, we're going to give you a singles match to just beat somebody. Now, she beat Ruaka, who has no credibility anymore. So it's not like this huge win, but it's a win. And she got to do her promo, and they're clearly into the My Sakurai. So at the very least, you might as well put her in a spot to get some spotlight. So,
Hmm.
you know, I just appreciated that. But yeah, the wrestling was like fine. Um, the match after that was Yuna Mizumori and Sori Ano beating Hanan and Saya Ida. Ano pinned Hanan actually with the Tom's Tundra, I think it is.
I call it the
Um,
Frenchie.
I don't think you're allowed to say that, but you know
Am I
what?
not?
Oh,
Is that a bad
I don't.
thing? Please tell me it's not a bad thing.
It's just a bit crass, I guess. I don't know. Like Frenchy. You know,
Yeah, but like
you'd say
there's
that
a
about a French
character.
person.
Yeah, but I'm not calling it. I'm not calling a person that. You know what? I'm sounding like I'm defending a use of something that's bad. So I'm gonna stop before I start. Um, because like I don't like where my like speech was heading. It sounded
Yeah, you
very
were
reminiscent of bad things. Um,
you were going down the matrix.
the Tom's Tandre, yeah. So I was confused by why they would have Ano pin Hanan. I was confused why they had Wingori lose because I was kind of thinking you probably want to give the undercard tag champions something, like a little bit. Like Unimon's right there, but then it kind of got revealed later in the night. I thought this was very good. Not very good.
Hmm.
I thought this was good. I thought Ida and Unimon were really really good. Yuna,
Yes.
especially, was throwing some good lariats, and
Mhm.
Hanan and Ano. People don't really remember, but they had a really good match in the 5 star. Like it's one of the ones that kind of flew under the radar, but it
One
was
of
really
the
good.
like 80 good matches, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the issue. Of 90 matches, like 70 of them were at least good, if not very good. Um, but yeah, I thought they did very well together here. I think they have really good chemistry. That was one of Hanan's best matches in the 5 star, in my opinion. I thought she kind of brought that out here as well.
Yeah, they were very good together down the finishing stretch, and their interactions post match were kind of nice as well. Because if you do sign Ano, and I keep saying signing Ano is like a matter of when, not if.
It's a matter of
Like
when
her,
that Sukiban money dries up.
yeah, like her and Hanan is like a thing that you should go back to because
Hmm.
they're very easy to pair off, right? Soriano is everything Hanan isn't, and vice versa. So I like them kind of, even if it's not gonna go anywhere, I like them at least kind of showing open animosity towards one another. Um, Ano pinning Hanan is another one of those things where, at the very least, the undercard matches had like an end goal. You know,
Mm.
that's all you really need. So if Ano pinning Hanan sets her up for a white belt match, that's all. That's all I'm really asking for here. Like, this is a pay per view. Shouldn't really be any meaningless matches. So at the very least, have people win setup challenges.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking of challengers for like belts during the show later on, and I was like, well, who can really? Because usually they do that where it's like the winner of a match earlier in the show will challenge later in the show, um, in some way. And so I was like, who won? Because like my Sakurai won here, but she lost, and then it ended up being Ano, which was a shock because they just had that match a month ago. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that's always kind of a smart and kind of a nice thing to give someone that little bit of momentum earlier in the show that they're going to announce their challenge.
Yeah, especially pitting Hanan instead of Ida, because
Yeah.
Hanan has been relatively protected recently. She got a few wins for eye contact in the tag league, so she
Mhm.
comes in with a bit of momentum. So that kind of that props Ano up a bit more than if she had just pinned Ida, who everybody beats at this stage.
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
The match after that then was a high-speed championship match. Mei Seira beat Tekla with a La Magistral in 8 minutes. Dude, Mei Seira is a student of this high-speed stuff. She
Yeah.
knows all the stuff that you want of a high-speed wrestler, down to the fact that she finishes her matches with different moves. So you're
Mhm.
always kind of on the edge of your seat, wondering which one is going to get the win. And that's like essential to the high-speed style. And she's got that already.
She also just randomly hit an RVD kick to lead into
Oh
it, like
man, that was
uh,
amazing.
I know it has a proper name, and I
The
just am
soul butt or
blanking out.
something, isn't it? The
No, that's
rolling
the standing.
savat? Oh,
That
rolling savat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Savat, I believe. Something
'Cause,
like that. Yeah.
Saki
Soul
Hasagawa
Butt is
used
the
to do it.
standing one. Yeah, and Sakazukawa does the Savat. Yeah, great move, and I think Bay is so great. I wasn't as crazy about this match as I wanted to be, because it felt like the first like 60 seconds, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a classic. This is gonna be such a great high speed match, and then it kind of lost itself for a few minutes. Um, and I think Tekla just kind of dwelled on certain things a bit too much for a high speed match. But yeah, I thought the opening was like a rare instance of me being like actively impressed by a high speed opening these days. Cause like I've seen all of them pretty much. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So like me being like, oh, that was interesting. That was unique. It's like that's a big thing for me. And they did that, and then they like immediately got outside the ring. May did a springboard and just stuck the landing to the outside, which was insane. And I was like, holy shit, this is insane. And then it just kind of fell apart a little bit before it got back to a cool closing stretch, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely set themselves up a bit early for, like, greatness and
Mhm.
then delivered very goodness. But,
Yeah, no, I agree.
they I thought they worked really well, and, I mean, aside from somebody who can keep up with Mei Seira, I think this is the best you're gonna get for the high speed stuff because, there's very few people who can do the trickery that she does, whereas Tekla, at the very least, can get close to that. Um, so I thought this was, like, very good and probably the best we're gonna get from one of these types of matches, unless
Do
they
you
do
think this
another
is better
three-way.
than the Hanazono one?
Uh, I
Because I think I
I
preferred the
guess
Hanazono one.
I get, like, being pure high speed, probably. Hanazono
Hmm.
is just, like, fun, right? Like a fun
Yeah,
wrestler.
who could move at a
Whereas this
fast
was,
pace? Yeah,
yeah, like, this was high speed, high speed.
I get that. I don't think
But
I
yeah, I
agree,
don't
but
know.
like, yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think it's just nice to see Mei Seira fully embracing the high speed style
Oh yeah.
and just what it is and how to excel at it.
Another
Um,
note, Mei Seira, her gear is kind of like a throwback to the Hoshizuki gear that she used to wear, mixed with her current gear, and I really like it. I think it's cool.
mm, I like
As is
hers
Tekla's
and
gear.
Tekla's. Oh my god, Tekla's was
Tekla's
great.
looks amazing.
When when I said I didn't like the silver on Suri, I hope people understand why now. Because the silver with Tekla, you're like, that just fits the vibe so much better than Suri's. Right? Like it doesn't work for everybody, but I think Tekla and silver is just the best pair.
I think it would have worked for
So
Shuri if she was winning the white belt from Mirai. Like I
maybe.
think the vibe would have
I
worked
just
a
I
bit more.
just I just I don't know. Siri just isn't a silver. I don't see her as a silver. She's more gold and like red than silver. I don't know.
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
All right, that's fair. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with this belt. I hope they do one of the three ways again because I feel like the last best high speed match that I can remember was the like Koguma, Poi, and Azumi one because you just get
That was the last one, right?
massive
The
bodies.
the
That's one that I
Mace one happened
remember.
after that.
The one that I remember. I said the one that I remember.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
I'm just
because
saying
yeah,
one of the
I
best
like
high speed title matches of all time happened like a month later, but that's okay. That's okay.
I disagree.
That's because you
I
just
don't
don't
know.
get
I
it.
can't remember. Yeah, I probably just don't remember it. But yeah, I just remember that high speed three way being like
That was a
fantastic
really good
at
match,
Sumo
yeah.
Hall. Yeah, like it stole the show because that second day of World Climax was a
It
very
was
odd
rough.
show. Yeah. Um, but yeah, that was the high speed. Our next match was a six-woman tag match. Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Natsuko Tora beat Ami Sourei, Mirai, and Suri. Tora pinned Ami Sourei in 9 minutes with a swanton bomb. We do not give enough credit to how powerful a way to tie looks sometimes. Queen's Quest gets all of the wow, they have aura talk. But Oedo Tai have some power when they've got like the drip going. I think they're like very underrated in the gear and just like overall vibes department.
They have a lot to live up to, I think.
I don't know. I
And a
feel
lot
like
to compete against.
I see Kid with the Liger horns, and I see Tora in the big, the big long dress, looking cool, and I see Momo ripping off part of Bull Nakano's vibe, and I'm just like, they fit as three people, as three hoodlums. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that vibe-wise, young OED was way more interesting. Uh, because I think that and including Starlight Kid in that conversation. I think that like the idea of like these like teenage girls just being evil and just just like I always compared them to Shock Lock and Barrel, right? Where it's like
Mhm.
these children are just ruining your life. And I think that's such like a great like just theme and vibe to go for, and they always killed it. But I get what you're saying. I think Natsuko looks phenomenal. She's a great centerpiece of the group, and I'm still not crazy about Momo's like whole vibe. I think in a way to tie, like I just never got it. Um, but I get what you're trying to say. I think it is a underrated vibe.
Yeah.
It's nowhere close to as aura quote unquote of QQ or as like I don't know endearing as stars. But I do get what you're trying to say. I think it's a cool
I
kind
feel
of.
like Stars hasn't had that kind of vibe in a while, but
I think it's because
you
everybody's
know,
injured.
that's true.
I,
Yeah,
I think like
they haven't
3
had a
months
full
ago when
lineup.
everybody was there, like they felt like, the most fun group,
Yeah.
but nobody's really there anymore. Half them are
That's
injured.
fair. That's fair. What I liked about this match is everybody paired off with the right person.
Mm,
Because that doesn't always happen in these tags. But you
yeah.
got Ami with Tora doing big hoss stuff. You got Momo and Suri kicking the shit out of each other. Mariah and Starlight Kid are in the match, or so I'm told. Um, and I thought again, like the Ano match, it's like Tora winning, challenging later in the show. It's as simple as that, you
Yeah.
know? That's all I'm
I will say
asking
it's
for
very
from these
funny that
undercards.
Ami was way too tall for the Loch Ness lowdown. Um,
Yeah.
because she was like her knees like buckle. She's like, I'm going to just stand up. What do you want me to do? And like she like couldn't sell it because she's like, you're just gonna put me back on my feet. Like I don't know what you want from me. And I thought that was quite funny. Uh, and I
This is
get it.
also a
You know, like I
relatively
understand.
this is a relatively clean way to tie a win. They cheated so much at the Corkin, and
Yeah.
like whatever they did here was like 10%
No, yeah.
of the Corkin
I think this
cheating.
was just like clean because it was just Natsuko
Yeah.
Swanton and like the.
Didn't they
uh
jump them for the bell? Or am I
I mean
misremembering?
that doesn't really count. I mean everybody jumps everybody in Stardom.
That's true. That's true.
Nobody is innocent in that regard.
That's fair.
Stars jumps people half the time.
As they should, to be fair. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, Tora winning, good match. Good.
Mm.
All right.
After
Now,
this match, was Ano.
oh yeah, she did. Yeah, because everybody left and Mariah was just there. It was
Yeah, she
like,
was just hanging out.
are you like okay there? And then yeah, Suriano popped up and challenged her for Sumo Hall. I cannot help but like get the feeling that this was supposed to be Natsupoi, and they've
I
just
don't.
doubled up because Ano is there and they did a draw last time. Because I don't see why you would do it back to back like that.
Yes, I don't think this was supposed to be Ano, but I also don't know if it was supposed to be Natsupoi because I feel like, I mean, if no injuries happen, period, I imagine that they would still be champions and dropping the belts at year end at Dream Kingdom.
I
Um,
don't know. I mean, they wanted AphroditE to win here,
but again,
so
if no injuries happen, that means that Saya's winning the red belt
that's
year end.
true. But
You know, I mean,
also,
like
if there's no injuries, I don't know if Ano Poi even like get them and keep them through the
they
tag
got
league.
the belts before that, didn't they?
They did, but I feel like so much stuff got messed up that they were just like, okay, fine, you two are healthy. Because Rose Gold were meant to have them, and then Mariah left. So I don't know what
Okay,
the
yeah,
idea
I
was.
guess if you look at it like you can't really look at Stardom as in a perfect world because there is no like it doesn't.
Hasn't been,
If
yeah,
in a
hasn't
perfect
happened.
world, Arisa would be here. You know what I mean? Like I know that's a cheap shot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's low. That's crazy.
But yeah, I do kind of wonder. I don't think it was going to be Natsupoi because I feel like Natsupoi would still be tied up in the stuff, um, because Aphrodite wouldn't be. Uh, Honestly, if not, I think that Micah and Megan might have won the belts, but
Mm,
that also wouldn't make sense
well,
because
no,
Megan's
because
leaving.
Megan was meant to be like gone. um, didn't has Sunny confirmed this? I cannot remember.
I I
Um,
haven't heard anything.
because I feel like three different people were like, "Oh, Megan is staying longer than she was supposed to." I don't know if this is a Sunny thing, a Dave thing, or a secret that I'm not supposed to be saying, but don't think it's that last one. I don't think it's that last one. So
I
it
mean, I
probably
knew
was
about.
Sunny.
I thought that she was going to be here by like through the end of the year.
Mm,
But I have heard that it's like, oh, she's still here, and I was like, well, why wouldn't she be? And so I guess that I've heard that from around, so you
yeah,
probably are allowed to say it.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, because you can never be too sure. But yeah, it's because Megan like randomly decided to let her stay longer. Because I guess AW needs to do talking picture woman and spooky lady feuds. Spooky lady and spooky MB. Um,
Homegirl
you know,
has a crown.
yeah, it's a look, I
Hmm.
guess.
She
But
also
yeah,
like
I
she's
don't know what the
emo,
tag
but
belts.
she talks
I
about
don't
her
know what they were
boobs. It
gonna do.
gets weird.
She
Um,
does? Really?
yeah, yeah, and her promo.
Oh,
I was like, this is very not like Julia Hart of you. Like I like Sky Blue. This is not what you're like. Okay, you know, you do you, homegirl. Like I'm not against it. I guess.
interesting.
Um, but yeah, back to this. I do think we're getting sidetracked today. I do think that Ano was not meant to be in this position, but I don't know if it was supposed to be Natsupoi.
Well, I just don't know who else it would be. Natsupoi
I
is one
don't
of the
either.
only people with credibility that hasn't been beaten lately, who could deliver a match worthy of Sumo Hall. Unless it was like Mina, but she's still around. I don't know why you would change Mina unless you have to introduce the new Club Venus girls at Sumo Hall, so you need her free. I don't know.
Honestly, I think outside of the 3 matches that we were given, I don't know what the fuck is going on moving forward,
That's fair. I don't know if
with
they do
anyone.
either. Yeah, I don't know
Because
if
it's like
Stardom
I'm
knows.
just thinking about it, it's like, start like getting Azumi, post the Julia match for Azumi. Just, you know, not even like a single thought in my brain of like what they could possibly be doing in the next 6 months, outside of maybe a Cinderella win for one of them. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's just those 2. Like, that could be said for, like, most of the wrestlers on the roster. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this match. I think this will be better than their previous
I would
2
hope so.
because I
I would
think,
definitely hope so.
and I also do kind of wonder if that draw was with the knowledge of, oh, you're going to have to run it back next month.
I'd say
Um,
so. Yeah, I don't believe they would have it go to a draw just to go to a draw. I know
yeah, I
people
would
like
hope
to
so.
make the draw a joke, but I don't think they do it just to do it. They did it with Tam Mayu and Suzu or Saya Kairi for obvious reasons. Where with this, I mean, you can just pin Soriano. She's won the tag belts.
And
she
she's
she can
been
take a
pinned
pin.
multiple times, like
Yeah.
clean as a whistle.
So I
Um,
don't. I feel like they would have only done that knowing that they had
yeah,
to run it
and in
back.
that case, I think this match could be very, very good. Because
Mm.
I think Ano's gonna pull out the stuff that she probably wanted to pull out previously, but couldn't because she knew she had to save it. I think Mariah will continue to do well because I think Mariah did really good in that last match of theirs. So, yeah, I'm excited for this match. Cautiously a little bit, but I'm ultimately excited. Um, it
It's
is
fair.
strange that that's the year-end match, though, like the Dream Queen
You
match. It
know,
feels like it's a
the white belt and weird
choice.
Sumo Hall December matches is a streak as old as time. Because well, before Sumo Hall, it was the Osaka show with Julia Siri double
Yeah,
belt unification. Then last year it was Haruka Umasaki, and now this year it's Ano out of nowhere. So yeah, the white belt keeps getting these weird like year-end matches, and I'm not sure why. But you know what? Ball. The match after that was a UWF rules match where Nanai Takahashi beats Scandinavian Hurricane in 7 minutes with a back elbow. This was so funny. Nanai said, "I am not doing UWF." She wrestled her normal gear. She did her normal entrance. She did pro wrestling moves.
hmm
She was not here for UWF rules at all, and it was just so funny. But it was good because like Alice Inc. was throwing UWF style strikes to try and like beat her, and I would just respond by stiffing her or doing a cool pro wrestling
I
move.
think
It
I
was
think that
really
was my
beast.
thing, was that, like, at some point, like, right as the match started, I was like, "Oh, shit, a UWF rules match with Nanai sounds like." I didn't give it enough credit for how interesting it could be, because Nanai is known to not be the most cooperative wrestler in the world. So wrestling in a style that is, like, meant to look and be uncooperative could be so sick. And, I think if she did a bit more UWF shit, I think it would have been very funny. Because at some point I was like, she's not really like shooting enough. And then a half a second later, she hit 2 passion effects and fucking concussed homegirl. Um, it was disgusting. I know she didn't concuss her because she's wrestling, but it was nasty. That finish was insane. I implore anybody to go find a clip of it. If you didn't get to watch this match, the most important thing is to see the finish because holy shit, it was
Yeah, she
gross.
clocked her. She was taking
Twice.
heads. Mhm.
She was like, "Oh, that wasn't hard enough. I got you."
Yeah, Andrade got to take some lessons.
Oh yeah. I mean, Jericho needs to take some lessons. Come on, get some passion.
Well, listen, Jericho could take a lot of lessons. To be fair,
Yeah.
It's.
I'm scared of
Um,
Jericho taking a lesson in Japan again. He's gonna beat Nanai with her finish. It's gonna be terrible.
yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't think she would let him. I think Nanai would fuck him up.
Put her foot down.
To be honest, yeah. She'd be like, he ain't got no passion. Screw that. So yeah, I don't think so. Um,
I think this could have been more murder. Is my point. I think Nanai could have
Probably,
definitely
but it
leaned
it was
into
good.
just
Like
killing him.
I thought it was very good. I had a good
It's
time.
funny. It's funny. The one UWF match, I was like, "Eh, it was all right." You're like, "No, that was good."
Just as it wasn't a UWF match, let's
It's true.
be
It's true.
quite honest here. Nanai said no, and honestly, we love that for her.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
Alice
after the
Inc.
match,
keeps kind of
oh
acclimatizing.
yeah, go ahead.
She's cool. Yeah, no,
Okay, cool.
just
Yeah.
Inc. is going on.
Um, yeah, and Ink is cool. We'll talk about it a little bit later. I will because I watched the match and I don't think you got to.
Okay.
But yeah, Nanai celebrated with Mei Seira, who was more excited that Nanai won than she was when she won her, title match earlier in the night. Mei Seira was so hyped that she won. It was very wholesome. And yeah, that's the end of that.
I love the passion injection connection that Nanai
Mhm.
seems to build with these people. It's very cute.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, somebody in the next match asked for a passion injection match. In passing, I don't know if she'll get it, but we'll see.
Oh, interesting.
We'll
So
talk
our
about it in a
match
minute.
was the Strong Women's Championship. Julia defends against Azumi. She beat her with a Northern Lights bomb in 13 minutes. This was great.
Sweet spot of a
Yeah,
time there for both of them.
this was great. There was parts of it where Azumi was just like firing off on Julia in very sloppy but cool ways. Like when she hit that one drop kick to like the side of Julia's leg that sent her flying, I was like, this is pro wrestling. This is real wrestling right here. This is screw you. I'm gonna throw myself at you and hope for the best.
Hmm.
Um, and they just played off each other really well. Like Julia was so egotistical and was beaten down on Azumi until Azumi did all her high speed stuff and got back into it and almost got the win with that double Azumi Zushi, which is a brilliant near fall, by the way.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, the and this is 100% biased. Uh, the only like off parts of this match were Julia's fault. And there was one Azumi botch. I'll give you that. But I thought that Azumi's performance in this match was absolutely tremendous. I feel like every time uh there's like this big Azumi match, everybody's like, "Oh, well, Azumi's like good, it'll be solid." And then she's just like, it's just like, "Oh yeah, she's like insane." And I thought Julia did her part well as well. I do think that Julia and this, not to disrespect, I think she got a little gassed at one point because you could tell she's like, "We're slowing the shit down. Give me a second. We're gonna get back to it, but let me get some techers in so I can catch my breath, okay?" And you know, that's just kind of how Azumi rolls in that sense. Um, but yeah, I thought Azumi really like forced Julia to give a fuck, which is kind of like the thing about these strong matches is that not always will Julia care that much, and sometimes she'll kind of autopilot her way to like a solid
It's a
match.
fake
Um,
belt. I don't blame
yeah,
her.
no,
This
yeah,
is a
I don't.
fake
I'm not
belt.
saying that she should give a fuck. Sure, if you don't want to, you don't want to, and I don't really blame you in this sort of no prestige situation. But that's just the case. Is that it's like you didn't really get it out of her. Risa Sarah kind of did, but it was still it was kind of sloppy. Though we kind of blamed that on injury at the time. I don't know if we will necessarily continue to, because it seems like that was kind of a bit overblown. I think the American matches have been okay. I think Hyan was solid, but that was a Hyan trying to make the most of this huge opportunity for her. This match, Azumi was like, if you don't hit me as hard as you fucking can, if you don't give me some energy right now, I'm gonna kill you. Like I'm just gonna keep kicking you in the head, and I'm not gonna let you live that down if you don't give me a good match. Um, and Julia did. Julia listened, and I thought it was a very, very good match because of that. Um, the like Italian hooks and the high kick trade, where they both like Julia was punching her in the face, and Azumi would answer with a high kick. Great, I loved that spot. I love the finish. I thought Azumi kind of getting that momentum and then Julia catching her with it with the Northern Lights was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great. The fuck just happened upstairs?
I
There was
don't
just a
know.
big ass boom.
Oh dear. My
I'm sure it's fine.
goodness.
Um, But yeah, I loved that was kind of how you have to beat Azumi, is that it's like let her momentum kind of fall back on her. I love that she kind of kicked at the three. She did that thing, that old school thing where she kind of lifts her leg but can't kick out. I think that's a great thing. Yeah, I thought Azumi's performance, especially in this, was so 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 good. Probably not on the level of the Shuri matches, This kind of made me want another Shuri match because I think Azumi every year gets better, and I kind of just want a Shuri match every year from Azumi. Uh, but yeah, I thought this was still very, very good.
Yeah, no, I also love the finish. Julia like sensed the tide turning and just said nah and dropped her. It
Mhm.
was really well done. Like honestly, this was a really really well done match from start to finish. Like full praise to Azumi, full praise to Julia. You know, had you asked me a few weeks ago, I'd have said Julia had one mind on, well, one foot out the door, and half her mind on a Monday Night Raw debut the night after WrestleMania. She could not have
You're
looked
expecting a bit
more.
much from homeboy Triple H over there.
Yeah, but she could not have looked more checked out for a little bit
Yeah.
there. But she's back. Like the feeling, to quote Scott E, I'm gonna steal from Scott for once because he steals from me. The feeling was back. Um, I could say that because he
You
doesn't
know,
listen,
yeah,
so
if he listened to this, he'd
he
take
won't
offense
kill
to
me.
that.
Yeah, he won't though. He's too busy.
Especially
So
we're like an hour in. He ain't
mhm.
listening that deep.
Yeah, if even if he has, he's been scared off by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Julia, the feeling was definitely back that she took her crown again. She was like, "Hey, I'm the main character around here."
No, I think Azumi is. I
You would
disagree.
say that. I don't know if the
Um,
main character can lose all the time. I don't think that makes a
I mean
good
that's
show.
how. Isn't that how things work? Like you gotta like the labors,
No,
like
they usually
struggle.
win sometimes.
Yeah, she'll win eventually. Um,
You sure?
I'm not borrowing that Cinderella 2024 unless they just give it to Mariah again for some reason.
It's
Um,
so funny.
it would be hilarious. But no, and then this match on Instagram, Azumi posted a picture of Nanai like hyping her up before the match. Um, and she said, "Oh, it wasn't enough. That's a shame." Or no, Nanai posted it of her hyping Azumi up before the match, and Azumi's like, "Oh, it's a shame that wasn't enough. Maybe we should do it in the ring next time." And I was just like,
Oh,
"Azumi passion injection? I am so here for that. Please, I don't care if she loses. I am rocking with it." So yeah, that might be a thing. It might not be, because wrestlers just kind of do that sometimes. They just kind of talk you know. But that would be a great, great match. I'd be super excited for an Azumi Passion Injection if it does come to be.
that's fair. It would kind of go crazy. Um, Our next match then was Saya Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita winning the Goddess of Stardom Championships when they beat Divine Kingdom, the team of Megan, Bayne, and Micah. Utami pinned Megan in 13 minutes with a German suplex.
Mm,
Um, you know what? This company really missed Utami and Saya. I know they
yes.
weren't gone for long, but holy shit, the difference they make. Like, just the star power from having them back is immense.
No, totally. I agree. I think that's like just the vibes, you know what I mean? Like I know I say that a lot and nobody really gets what it means, but just the vibes just are so much better with AphroditE around. Um, this match was very good. Obviously, I think if you put Micah in there against Utami, and Saya, or Utami or Saya, like you're going to be hard pressed to find a bad match, especially Micah operating on the level she is this year. Like I don't think I had any fear of this being anything less than really good. Um, and it was. And I'm just super excited that Aphrodite won the belts and that they are here. They put Saya speaking English in the FTR in the VTR, which I thought was very funny because they just made sure you remember that she was like, uh, and I thought that was great. I thought Saya actually really stood out in certain character aspects of this match. But before I get to that, you can kind of give your piece a little bit.
There was something I wanted. Oh yeah, so is it pronounced Aphrodite or what? The team,
Yeah, I call it Aphrodite
because
because that's what the goddess's name is.
yeah, like that's
But
the.
I also understand that like if the emphasis is on the E, that's why it's uppercase.
Mhm.
Aphrodite. I get
But
that.
I don't know if they say Tay because Saya said it in her promo a couple weeks ago, and she said Aphrodite, which kind of sounds right. Then I don't know.
I think that wrestlers just kind of go through their words very quickly. Like I think that's just how
It's
Japanese
fair.
works.
It's
Also,
fair.
is like
Yeah.
kagetsu is kagetsu. That's how you
It's
pronounce it technically,
it's yeah.
but getsu
Yeah, and I
sounds
mean
like it just
tam is
rolls
like
better.
tamu. Remember
Yeah,
the
exactly. Like
tamu?
we're diving into Japanese pronunciation, and some of the things are a bit uh odd occasionally. Um, but yeah, I mean, I call him Aphrodite. You call him Aphrodite. Some might call him AphroditE. Some might call him Afro. Some might call him Sai and Utami. To each their own.
Yes. I don't think I would ever call him Afro, but uh,
The
maybe
Afros.
maybe we need a code name. We can't call them
Remember?
the
No,
lesbians,
but
even though they are the lesbians.
darn nabbit, you can't call them lesbians. Yeah, that's
Well,
already a
I think
gimmick.
that would be
Remember
too vague.
2003?
No, I think it would be too vague.
Eric
People would be
Bischoff?
like,
No?
I do. It's screenshot lives in my mind.
Yeah, I still got that too.
So I think I used it to describe these two
You did.
recently.
You
Yeah.
did. Yeah. I didn't remember if
It
it was you.
was
I knew
yeah.
somebody did it, but I assumed it was you, but I wasn't 100% sure. Um, no, but remember when ALK were beefing with Aphrodite and they came out wearing afros?
Oh
Like that was
yeah.
like their thing
Yeah.
because they were like, "Oh, we're gonna be Afro," the afros, and they
Mm,
wore like that was kind of their bit. So that's why I brought up Afro. Respect
okay.
the Afro man. Shouts out Sanji from One Piece.
See.
Uh,
Well, I think I'm just
he's
gonna
the
call him
best.
AphroditE from now on,
Why
because
do you
that
have to?
seems, because I don't want to like get it wrong.
You want to
I
be
know
biblically accurate?
I know it's Aphrodite in like Anglo-centric places, but they seem to say Aphrodite.
Now you're gonna make it sound like it's a racist thing.
Anglo is a language, you moron.
I know, but like
It
it's
is
like
a
oh
language style.
the Westerners are
No.
gonna call it Aphrodite.
Oh my god, this is crazy. Trying to get me in trouble. I called you a moron. Sorry about that.
I don't care. I am. It happens.
Okay.
Um, Back to
They
what
did a
I was
good
saying,
job.
since you kind of
Oh,
just dive off.
well,
Saya. If you couldn't tell, guys, we are recording late today, so we're both kind of like feeling different. Um, but Saya with Megan was very interesting because Saya is one of the only people that I've seen whose first like I guess she wrestled Megan on the Corkin show, but really pretty much immediately Saya was like, "No, I'm just gonna beat the fuck out of her." Like I'm not scared of her. Like she's tall, sure, but I'm just gonna hit her. I'm just gonna keep hitting her until maybe she like sells it, and hopefully she sells it eventually. And I thought that was so cool. Like nobody's done that so far. Like nobody's been like completely unfazed by Megan's presence. Like at one point, she went to knock Megan off the apron, and Megan just no sold it, and she's like, "Man," and she starts like swinging at her, and I was like, "Yes." Like Zaya has something, and I really like. We talked about this the past few months. That's like the ways people interact with Megan is interesting. It's sometimes even more interesting than Megan as a wrestler. No offense to her,
but
but
I,
like
I I told you this like the very first time we saw
yes,
her. I
and I
was like, "Hey,
disagreed
man."
until until the Mei Seira stuff started,
Mm,
where it was like very clear how they kind of, you know, worked. Uh, because yeah, you were right. I'll give you that. You were 100% right because I think that like Saya here looked so cool in that she's like, I just got back from an injury. I should probably be like a bit more cautious, but I'm just gonna go up to the tall ass motherfucker and just swing as much as I can. And then when she's not looking, I'm gonna jump off the apron and hit a crossbody outside, just cause. And that is why Sai is so cool. Like I think that is so Sai Kamatani, and I love it. Megan Utami also did very good together. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job throughout the match of building Megan up. Um, like at one point she handled both members of the
Hmm.
team on her own. Like she had Saya and Utami beat on her own. So they did a good job throughout the match of making sure that Megan kind of looked unstoppable. Which then, when Utami got in and went toe to toe with her, the crowd was rooting for Utami to like slay the monster. And I thought they did really well at kind of playing into that throughout the match. So like the early stuff built to what happened late on.
Mhm.
Them establishing Megan as an unshakable force early on, Utami's struggle late in the match that much better. Um, I don't fully remember what Micah did. I think she did some cool sequences, but she wasn't really the focus of the match, which is
No.
fair. Saya as well, I think was a full
M
focus. This was fully
Micah and Utami did some stuff early. That was good.
did,
I remember.
yeah. But this felt fully like Utami versus Megan to re-establish Utami as one of the key players. So I thought they did a good job of like presenting Megan as something for Utami to beat, and then she did it.
I
But
also
they
thought
did it
that
in a way
was
that
I was about to talk about the finish. I also think it's interesting that like the idea of Saya, Micah, and Utami working together is so OP. Because like Utami didn't have to hit her finish. All she needed was Micah to accidentally hit Megan, and Saya to hit her, and then for her to hit her with the German,
hmm,
and like she won. And I think that's kind of like an interesting, even though probably it leads to nothing because I never imagine Saya, Micah, and Utami being like a actual team. Um, but the idea that it's like, oh, Saya hits her big move, Micah accidentally hits her big move on Megan, and then Utami hits like her C plus move, and she wins because of how insanely strong that combination is. I think that's a cool, not only way to keep Megan protected, that's like, oh, she had to take the biggest moves from three of the biggest wrestlers in the company to get pinned. Um, but also, I thought that was kind of like an interesting thing. That's like, oh, these motherfuckers are like. It further proved how strong the golden generation is, effectively.
yeah, and it protected Megan, which they seem very committed to doing because
Mhm.
it took all three of them basically to take her down. So I thought the finish was very clever, and the match itself was really well worked up to that point, and it was a really easy story to follow. It really reestablished Utami as a real main player right off the bat. So I just thought everything about this was so well done. And credit to Megan as well. I kind of complained about Megan and Tam beat her, and she popped up right away and didn't sell the finish. Credit to her, she did it this time. She stayed there, she let the moment soak in, took Micah kind of rolling her out of the ring for her to get back up. Um, I thought that was a nice bit of progress from Megan to like really sell losing instead of just popping back up like she did against Tam.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that just in general, Megan, even though she's still obviously selective with it, her selling has gotten a lot better in Stardom. Just in terms of like the big moves matter. Even though she is like that powerhouse who doesn't really sell, like she still sells. Like
Yeah.
she's learning how to actually like sell it and not just be like, oh well, nothing hurts me. I just
Mhm.
like I think she's gotten a lot better at that specifically throughout her time in Stardom.
Yeah, because I mean, I've always said this about Aja Kong.
Hmm.
Like the key to Aja, 30 plus years now, has been her knowing exactly when and how much to sell. That is how
Yeah.
Aja has established herself as the greatest of all time.
I mean,
I feel
until the Wipeout win, arguably the biggest accomplishment of Mirai's career is making Aja bump off of a
yes,
lariat.
yeah.
Like that was the biggest thing she did for years.
Mhm. You can be a monster like Megan, but what a lot of them don't know how to do that selling part that
Mhm.
Aja got so well. And I think Bull Nakano as well got it down really well,
Yes.
to her credit. So it's nice to see that progress from Megan because powerhouses don't just have to be I'm not selling anything. They have to be when I do sell, it's a big deal. And I
Mhm.
think we're seeing a lot more of that from Megan as she kind of gets attuned to working more in Stardom. And they're gonna ship AEW a custom made like Jade 2.0. Like she's going to be an improvement over where Jade was. Even if she doesn't have the huge upside of Jade Cargill, but like
Yeah.
they're going to get a very fitting replacement.
Yeah, totally. I think that she will be she'll just be a way better wrestler than she was when she came in. And she
Mm.
already is, I think, a lot better than she was when she came in. So
And I was
good for
high
her.
on her when she came in. Like I've been on the Megan Bayne kind of fan train
The
since
Megan Bayne
like
train.
Beyond. Yeah, I've been there since Beyond when they were building her up pretty well, but it's definitely been good to see the strides that she's made in
I
Stardom.
wonder if she beats Julia.
You know, with Mercedes money apparently edging closer to that WWE comeback, I feel like Megan would make a lot of sense, especially the AEW kind of deal in place. I think it'd be very easy for her to work strong shows and then defend it on AEW whenever they want.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they're doing with Trish Adora with that thing,
Yeah,
that whole
that's weird.
Julia thing.
I guess that's Battle in the Valley, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other place for it really if they're still doing it. Again, we don't really know how recently the Mercedes thing was completely called off. So, like, if Julia was meant to hold
Yeah.
the belt until, you know, the, spring show where she could drop it to Mercedes, and now that's just not happening. They might just want to take it off of Julia, especially if Julia's leaving too. They might just want to take it off of Julia like immediately, and I don't think Trisha Dora is going to be doing that. So I don't know what they do with that. I don't know. Like I said, I
Mm.
don't know what they do with any of
It's a
these belts
fake
really.
belt. Yeah,
Yeah,
these New Japan belts could not have gone worse. I feel like just uh,
and it's interesting because they
they
introduced
are.
these since the AEW deal. So like, it's not like there's anything getting in their way.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just I don't know, because like that was their excuse for like why their so many of their American shows kind of failed was because oh well AEW exists now and we're partnering with AEW so rest like fans can just watch our wrestlers there and they don't find a reason to really go to these strong shows. Okay, but you created two belts in the past three like what like 400 days and you just forgot that it doesn't work. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong. It's kind of incredible.
You know, with New Japan and Bushiroad, sometimes I feel like Kidani wants one thing and Gato wants another.
Oh yeah,
And
and Rossi
this,
wants a completely different thing most of the time.
yes, and I think the IWGP Women's Title was a real victim of that because Kidani wanted it. He's a businessman. He sees the market for women's wrestling.
Mhm.
Gato is like, I'm pushing the white men. Naito, go away. So there's no room for an
At least we got
IWGP
Naito.
title match there. Yeah.
That's how the New
Uh,
Japan fan thinks. It's like, hey, at least we got Naito.
imagine that company without Naito. I feel like it would
It
be
would be dire.
awful. It would be so bad. Like, why is wrestling shit? That's what I want to know.
I
Like,
ask myself that every day.
dude, yeah, wrestling sucks most of the time. This is crazy. But yeah, we had a main event then. The World of Stardom Championship Challenge Certificate match. Suzuki defended against Hazuki in 15 minutes with a German suplex hold. Um,
The
crazy to say,
locomotive.
locomotive. This Suzu needed this match.
Yeah.
'Cause Micah stole her entire flow from the tag league. All the while, Suzu was shrugging her shoulders, waiting for an old woman's knee to rehab. So her getting a chance here to just go, hey, bell to bell, I am an elite pro wrestler. Is a really good reminder that even if she beats Micah, people are going to get over it. She's delivering to this level.
hmm This is also like her first really big singles match that like isn't a tournament match. Because the
Or
Julia
a
match
nice ribbon
was
lore.
different. Okay, well, yeah, the Julia match I'm at the point where, like, looking back at it, it wasn't good. Uh, I thought that like dwelled on being a good match too much for it to be a good match. This was like the first time where Suzu got this main event spot. Kind of like okay, let's see what you could do theoretically if you won the red belt. And obviously, Hazuki's the best dance partner you could possibly ask for in that situation. But I thought that Suzu completely like knocked it out of the park. Hazuki knocked it out of the park. This was probably the best Stardom match in like a few months for me. Um, like this was really like a real something for me because I thought it was very, very good. It could have been better. I think that the fact that everybody kind of knew Suzu was just going to win. I think that Hazuki didn't even really get that many near falls. Uh, she didn't really get any convincing near falls. I didn't want her to blow a brain buster necessarily, but she probably could have gotten like a Hazuki stroll at some point. But she just kind of lost. Like there was no real uh, uh there was no hope. Like, it didn't feel like Hazuki ever truly had it in the bag and then lost it. Uh, she just completely lost, which is not great, but it was still a very good match, so I didn't really mind it. There were some really like notable spots. I think like Hazuki sold the Ishimori German suplex better than anyone ever, uh, since that move was created. Like she took that on the neck, and it was disgusting. It was great. Um, Hazuki just spit water in her face at one point because she was just feeling it. Hazuki in a main event spot is better than pretty much anybody else. Um, More consistent at least than anybody else. And I thought this match kind of showed that. As well as Suzu has a ton of upside if they do decide to go with her as the red belt champion.
Yeah, no, I thought Hazuki was like a very important part of this match, just
Mhm.
because she's the glue person for any
Yeah.
big match. Like she will deliver no matter what, and the crowd is into her. I also think they're very clearly going for a heelish Suzu. She's not a baby face. I don't think she's a baby face at all. She is a
Mhm.
nasty character in kayfabe in the ring. I think putting her opposite Hazuki is a very easy way to get the crowd kind of against her because they love Hazuki. Like Hazuki is always popular. So I think they did a good job of, not only saying, "Hey, Susie's a great wrestler," but also she's a heel. You should not like her.
It's
Um,
funny because like she is, but she isn't. Because Micah will use that. Like she said it in Shoe Pro, maybe a weekly. I don't remember. She said it in an article that was like, yeah, nobody really gives a fuck about Suzu. Like why would she be why how could she be the face of the company if nobody cares about her? If nobody feels anything about her. Did you hear how they were cheating for Hazuki? Yeah, they weren't chanting for Suzu. And I was like, that's some instigator ass shit, 'cause she's kind of right. Obviously people care about Suzu. I'm not saying that. I love Suzu. Like I think she's phenomenal. But that like because I think fans don't really know how to respond to Suzu necessarily. Because like people like Suzu. Like, Japanese fans like Suzu. Western fans like Suzu, but they don't like her more than Suzuki. They don't like her
mhm.
more than Micah, and they don't like her more than X or Y. They wouldn't have liked her more than Tam. So it's like you kind of have to not necessarily like make her turn heel, but you kind of have to lean into that a bit more so that
Mhm.
she can be the other person who isn't as popular, but still, that makes the match better. So yeah, I think that is an interesting element of these Suzu matches is that she is kind of the heel, but she's not necessarily like I don't know. She's in an interesting spot. I wouldn't say she's like in a Naito spot. Like I think people are scared
No,
of that.
no.
Like, I think people are scared of, like, somebody
She's
who's not a defined heel
Mhm.
not getting a babyface reaction. Uh, I don't think this is something to be scared of or something to, like I don't think you have to put her in a Wado tie. You know what I mean? I
thing
think
is, the
she's
thing
fine.
is, we've seen this exact archetype in Stardom before, and
Mhm.
her name was Momo Watanabe.
Yes.
This works, and I think Suzu will make it
Yeah.
work.
No, you're right. I mean,
And
and this version of Suzu is basically where I want Momo to like, that's where I've
Mhm.
always wanted Momo to get back to, was the heelish, and she's an asshole, and she's not everybody's favorite wrestler, but she's probably the best wrestler, and I think that's kind of where Suzu is trying to slot in, and I think that's a perfect comparison, Alex. Good job. Like, truthfully, I didn't even connect that, but that's like you nailed it.
No, like they very visibly have course corrected, and I think they're playing one of the hits with just the "I'm better than you and I'm going to beat everybody," champion, which has worked for Stardom before. Um, so I, as I said, I don't. I think even if Micah loses to Suzu, I think she'll win people over very quickly.
Yeah.
Just based on this match and based on her character work and based on them leaning into it almost. So they're really salvaging what was a very iffy situation where it looked like Micah had to win, or they were going to have like a riot on their hands. But yeah, I'm glad to see them kind of getting it under control.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll still see. I still feel like it's up in the air of who wins that main event. Ultimately, it's leading Suzu. Like, I feel like
Mm,
there's no doubt about it. That's like feels like Suzu has that, but at the same time, you never really know. You know, like
yeah,
it's an intriguing main event. One of the more intriguing main events in a long time because you don't really know, like of a year end show, I
that's
should say.
all we've needed. Stardom has
Yeah,
been desperately crying out for that for months now. I feel like just something for everybody to sink into,
I feel
in the
like
way that they're
wrestling's
into
been
Micah
needing
Suzu.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I think it
Well,
was
yeah,
Scott that was
yeah,
mentioning it, that it's like, I feel like every company in some way is struggling with that, where it's like, yeah, there's cool stuff, but it's like, there's nothing to really like, like, "Oh, I want to see that," more than like, "Oh, that's gonna be a good match." I
yeah.
feel like a lot of companies are needing that right now, and I think you're right,
All
Micah and
Japan is
Suzu
like the
is this.
closest. All
Oh,
Japan is definitely
100%.
the closest. They're
All Japan
like
has
red
the
hot.
match.
Yeah, and I guess CMLL, but their pacing is a bit off. Like I don't know what the match is for like Mascara
Yeah.
Dorada, but obviously seeing his rise is huge. Um, but yeah, I think All Japan is like the closest. Although
And that's because
TKPW
they
came
ran the match
close.
earlier,
It's
and
true.
they ran the match and it was insane, and they're
Mm.
running it again. Well, no, it did, whatever.
Um, we there was another show. There were more
Yes.
shows this past week. The one on the 3rd of December in Wakayama. This went up earlier today. I think I said it here. It went up at like 2 p.m. my time,
Mm.
which didn't really leave me a lot of time to watch it, so I didn't. um, you did see some of it though, so do you want to? Should we bother with the results, or do you just want to
Uh, I don't think any
talk
of the
about what you
results
saw?
necessarily matter. Yeah, so I watched the last two matches, which was Stars versus Suzu, Mei, and Megan. The Stars trio are the only ones that aren't injured, so figure that out for yourself. This got some good extra from Suzu and Hazuki. They kind of got to do their stuff together, and Hana and Mei also continued their beef from New Blood. Um, and I thought those were the two key cool parts of this match. Saya wasn't really in it that much until she was there to lose. Megan wasn't like that huge of a factor. It was mainly that stuff, and I thought that was solid, if not, you know, out of this world. I don't think you necessarily have to go out your way to see it, but I thought there was some good stuff here.
All right,
And
that's cool.
then the main event was also solid. Not much more than that, but there was Azumi and Shuri doing some good stuff for a prolonged period of time. As I said, just give me that match again. Like, make up a new belt and give it to me on Dream Queendom. Like, I don't care. I, anything, just give me that match. I just want my yearly Shuri and Azumi match, please. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Queen's Quest back together. Mirai won there. Alice Inc. is in God's Eye now. And yeah, that's pretty much what I saw.
All right. So Alice Inc. joined God's Eye then. So
Yes.
she's kind of linked up with them.
Oh yeah,
I don't
she
know if
was a lot better in that tag match than I think she
that's
was kind
good.
of being shown. Like it
Glad to
felt like
hear it.
just she got to like pick where she wanted to really like throw out her
Mhm.
offense, and I think that was great. And she got to wrestle against like Azumi, which is also better than a Ruaka or even an Ida in a singles match.
Yes, I can only imagine. Yeah, I'm glad to see her doing tags, and I think God's Eye is the best place for her to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so you know
Or you're
what?
saying she doesn't fit the Club Venus style? She
Sadly,
can't
I
do the
don't think
dance.
so. But you know,
Imagine if Club
if
Venus
sh
just like changed to being shooters. They're just like, you know what? we are renovating Club Venus. This is a Muay Thai gym now. Um, that would be sick. I'm gonna be real.
I mean, Mina has the credentials. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know, could work.
yeah, could be the move.
Um, yeah, that's cool for Inc. I mean, God's Eye was always the most obvious spot for the woman who debuted doing UWF roles with Siri. Um, and if this means she's sticking around for a bit, then so be it.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. There was two other shows over the past week. They were both house shows. They're not up. I don't think anything really happened of note.
Mina over
So
Tekla. That's interesting.
is that of
Um,
note? I feel like a
it would have been
faction
a year
leader
and a half
should beat
ago.
Tekla. Yeah, but
It's not anymore.
Mina is
Um,
a faction leader.
I will
I know they
say,
don't treat her like it all the time, but
yeah, I will say, I think as much as I love Yuzuki's gear, um, it is kind of a problem because I saw her getting stretched by Starlight Kid in the numero uno dos numero dos. Um, and like I was like, oh, she beat Miyu again, and then I looked up, I was like, oh no, it's Suzuki. So that's gonna be an issue, is because their gear looks somewhat vaguely similar, and I'm not the most smart person.
okay. Um,
There was another match on this. Oh, Azumi and Utami versus Suzu and Mei was probably very good. Uh, I'm
yeah.
just assuming.
Um, there's three shows this coming week to preview.
Oh, one more thing,
Um,
one more thing, one more thing.
okay, all right.
It looks like Alice and Julia came to blows after a match.
Ooh,
So that might be a thing. It might
handbags.
not be, but there's a picture of them like fighting after this match. At the same time, Suzu and Micah fought after a match Suzu wasn't even in. She's a real hater, so shouts out to that.
That's fair. That's good. Yeah, maybe Ink is a Sumo Hall match for Julia. Be
She could be one of the
something.
3 or 4 pay-per-views before the the American show.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe 1-4, 1-3,
Hmm.
maybe
But
possibly.
that's actually
I don't know.
what I'm probably the most disappointed about from the Nagoya show is that like, are the RS belts going to be defended on the year-end show, or is the
They're
strong
such an
belt,
afterthought, and it is
or
really sad.
is the high speed belt going to be defended? Like, is anything but the top 3 titles going to be defended? Because like it feels like none of them really like have
I would
any.
assume we get one
Yeah.
more. I assume we get at least one more.
Does Rena
Um,
even have a challenger right now?
no, but like there is a New Blood show
Yeah.
on
No, I know.
Christmas
Not
Day,
for the
so
not for the that for the Dream Queendom show, but for New Blood. Like I was like, nobody challenged her.
no, they'll
Um.
do a random one, I think. Maybe somebody will
Yeah.
challenge her over the coming weeks. I don't know. Um, there's a lot about Stardom that I'm just like shrugging my shoulders right now because they're clearly trying to right the ship. So I'm giving them some space.
Wait a second.
Um, are three shows in the coming week to preview.
Oh
One
wow,
of them
that's
is
dire.
happening.
They ran Mai Sakurai versus Yuzuki 2 days in a row. Or not
Yeah, I
not in a
saw
row.
that.
They ran it once and then the Starlight Kid match, then that again. I was like, wow.
Truly, we are in dark times.
A little bit.
Um, the first show to preview is happening in probably a couple of hours at this stage, um, on the 7th of December in Japan, and it is
Hmm.
currently the 7th of December, Japan. So I don't think there's much point in like looking ahead to this.
There's nothing really on it. I'm gonna be
No,
real.
I wouldn't say there's anything on the card that really stands
Cool,
out.
cool looking stars match, but that's who would
Yeah.
have thought?
Is
Um,
Yuzuki on here? Oh, she's teaming with Kevin
ooh.
Hanako. That's crazy.
Oh, this is the crop, the
Oh
Milano
yes,
crop.
yeah, yeah, interesting. Well, that'd be a fun one. Um,
They're gonna get killed, but yeah.
of course. Um, on Friday, then Stardom's at the Tokyo Comic Con. They have one
Hmm.
match. It's Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, and Utami Hayashishita versus Hanako, Suzu, and Mei. These are usually fine. They're usually very much like 50%, 75% effort. So, the names look good. I'm not getting my hopes up for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of Miyu and a lot of Hanako.
Yeah, which might be the most base thing ever. I don't know. Um,
Could be.
then on the 9th of December, we have a year-end show in Osaka. This is the
This is the
Osaka
year-end tour,
Elion
just so everybody knows.
year-end tour. This is in the Osaka Arena number 2. Um, we have an opener of Mita Shirakawa versus Hanan versus Yuzuki. So, and Mina's gonna win you would
Yeah, but
think.
there
But
could be
that's
some
an
interesting
interesting.
exchanges here and there.
It'll be a test
Hanan,
of Yuzuki.
I
I mean,
I don't think I've noted this before. Hanan is the person who seconds Suzuki to all of her matches.
oh,
And she's a
interesting.
very active second. Like she is rooting for Homegirl, very actively. So that not necessarily saying that there could be something there, but just a little behind the scenes type of note that Hanan is very much um, a Yuzuki fan, Yuzuki pilled, if you will. Um, she is, yes.
Right. Yeah, this will be a test of Yuzuki because obviously working a three-way match is different than a singles. It's different from a
Hmm.
tag, so you're going to get a new experience here. But she's been in the ring with Mina already now, so maybe that'll help her a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see. Um, we have Hazuki and Saida versus Mai Sakurai and Tekla.
Man, uh,
Guess the DDM team wins. So gets one over
maybe
Anita.
it
Yeah.
depends. I mean, like Ida can not lose here. Like she's capable of it, but I don't know if she
I feel
will.
like the only way Stars wins is if they challenge for the Arts belts
Ooh,
after.
maybe they do. You know what?
Maybe
Actually,
they
that
just
is
challenge though.
possible.
Maybe Koguma's back and that's like the challenge. Classmates
Yeah, I was
versus
gonna say
DDM.
either. Uh, yeah, I mean, it depends on how things shape out with injuries, right? Because I do think a Stars challenge but they just did the ladder
Yeah, they just
match,
did that. So that's why I think it would have to have a
Koguma
comeback.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's this could be something, but it also very likely isn't.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. We have an 8-woman tag match then. Utami Hayashishita, Saya Kamitani, Azumi, and Miyo Masaki of Queen's Quest take on Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Araka of Oedo Tai. I would imagine Oedo Tai gets one over on Queen's Quest here.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
We have
I don't
Siri
know what Queen's
Murai,
Quest away outside no more. Like it's like
Siri Murai and Amisore versus Saori Ano, Yuna Mizumori, and Hanako. That is a very obvious God's Eye win.
yeah, Rampage, God's Eye, in fact,
Yeah.
the OGs.
Then we have Megan Bayne versus Scandinavian Hurricane.
You think they're cool with giving Hurricane losses yet, or do you think they're still?
Yeah, she lost in the night. And
Yeah, but she
Siri.
also lost to Shuri, but she also drew with Tekla, which she
Uh,
definitely either
that
could have
was
won or
that was like
lost.
that was very weird though. So, um,
Yeah, it was a count out, which was poorly
well,
done.
I guess it depends because maybe AEW has asked that Megan gets a lot of in-ring time, which is why she's done back-to-back 15-minute draws in singles action. So
If this
maybe
goes
this
to a
goes
draw, it's
15.
gonna be rough. I'm gonna be real.
Probably, but it would be good for both of them, I guess, to get
Yeah,
that experience. Maybe not against each other, um, but it would be good to
but I
get that
mean,
experience.
okay, and not to be, I mean, this is kind of disrespectful, but Megan is gonna have to learn to wrestle people who are not the greatest wrestlers ever. Not the greatest women's roster on the earth.
Of course. Yeah,
Um,
you can't
so
wrestle Tommy every week.
yeah, so and this is no disrespect to Alice Inc. I think Alice is really good. But
She's just not Utami. That's fair.
exactly, she's not Utami, she's not Suzu Suzuki. She's not.
Julia.
Yeah, like it's hard bar. So I do think that maybe having them go 15 is smart to kind of get Megan used to wrestling people who are maybe not as great as the greatest women's roster in the world. Uh, you know, it could be a good rep for both of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if it goes long, we just don't have to watch it.
Yeah,
The main event then is
it's
an
getting
interesting one. It's Julia and Micah versus Suzu Suzuki and Mei Seira.
you know, I am excited for this one because I know Julian Suzu is not going to be the focus. Um, and that's cool with me. Um, I think Julia and
It's
May can do a
fair.
lot of cool stuff, and I think Micah and Suzu are obviously going to do some cool stuff. I'm excited for this preview match, even though it's going to go 30, or Micah over May probably. Uh, yeah, it'll be fun.
And that's the main event. It's kind of an
Yes.
interesting one. Um, The last show to preview then is on the 10th. This is in Kobe, the
Oh, they
Kobe
don't got the
Sunbow Hall.
pictures. I like the
No,
pictures.
very upsetting. In the opener we have Ida versus Yuzuki.
Hmm?
Ooh, like
A
that.
win,
That's
a
good.
win for the homegirl.
Yeah, a win for Ida. We have Megan Bayne versus Hanako. Oh, lovely.
I've been saying I think Megan Bayne should lose to one of the tall people. It's not gonna be Hanako. I was more thinking Lady C, but it's also not gonna be Lady C. But I do think that could be kind of fun, um, even if it's just kind of a nothing match.
And
Oh,
listen, let's
they're running the next one back.
Suzu versus Unimon. I will not
Yeah,
complain.
yeah, that happened a couple weeks ago, but it looks interesting.
Hmm? Hazuki and Hanan take on Mina Shirakawa and Mei Seira.
It's interesting. Oh man, Mariah May is gonna go have a fucking fit. Mariah
Good.
May across the globe is gonna be crying and screaming in the AEW locker room. It's gonna be great.
Bro, she left. She deserves it.
I
Um,
don't even know who wins that. That's a pretty even match.
yeah, I don't know. That could be a draw, or Hanan just like eats a fall.
Yeah, I
Not
mean
sure.
both are possible. Hazuki could also just pin May if they want that old school high speed title match at Queendom and get Hazuki in there.
Yeah, why not? Hazuki, Azumi, Mei Seira. Get
Shit,
Mei
dude,
Seira in
why
there.
not? Why not?
Yeah,
Cook.
Dylan. Not gonna
Hmm.
believe this. The last two matches on this show are elimination matches. We
I'm
have
not watching.
Mirai,
I'm not watching
Mirai,
either of them.
Misore, and Alice Inc. versus Natsuko Tora,
Wait.
Momo Watanabe.
Oh.
Suri is there.
Okay, I
They've
was gonna say,
formatted
why is there a 3-on-3
they
elimination match?
formatted it wrong, so Suri is part of the title instead of the match.
Hmm.
So it is elimination match Shuri, and then Suri, Mirai, Ami, and Alice Inc. versus Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Rocca. And the other elimination match, Utami, Saya, Azumi, and Kevin versus Julia, Micah, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla. So
It's crazy to think how much Queen's Quest and DDM have changed in the past 3 years. Because remember when they had that like 30-minute, those like 30-minute matches, the
mhm,
elimination matches and whatnot, and now it's just like neither group is like. I mean, I guess Utami, Saya, and Izumi are still, you know, like this, but
yeah,
it is an interesting uh difference in elimination matches if you go back to that old one. But
it's
yeah, I
true,
think
honestly.
I think these Stardom elimination matches are either like absolutely bland and you don't need to watch them at all, or they just rule for some reason. I'm going to assume this one's going to it's in Kobe. Yeah, it'll probably be fine. I'll probably be like, oh, okay.
Um, so next week to review some of this stuff that's happening this week. We're gonna look ahead as well because there's only one show week after,
Hmm.
and I suspect that show will tell us a lot about the year-end
And
run
Niigata?
because they haven't announced the card for it yet. So I think that's when we'll see people be reintegrated to the
Yeah, I
cards
mean,
if they're going to be
hopefully,
back.
next week we will have a conference to talk about.
Yes, I mean I would say that 11th, 12th, as you were saying, like
Mhm.
that should be the latest you're really getting to it. But if you
And
have
I guess they're
to,
kind of like hoping people come back in time, and I think they're
mm,
kind of waiting on some answers for that. Like on a Mayu or a Koguma, like because they both, as far as I'm aware, didn't have like these insane injuries as much as they just had like injuries that they didn't really want to work
well,
on. Um,
Mayu was literally just her pinky finger.
yeah,
Like
but that got she posted something about how it was not healing correctly.
that's
Um,
bad. That's bad.
yeah, so she went to the hospital the other day to get it checked out because it wasn't healing correctly. But even then, you could work on a somewhat injured pinky. Like it's not impossible. Um, but again, they just might not want them on those injuries, like working with them. So we
Mhm.
will see. I imagine that's why they're stalling, and the schedule's just stupid. But I think that's part of why they're stalling to kind of give more information is because they don't want to miss out on a Mayu match at Dream Queendom if she can't be there.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the goal with Mayu is probably
The fourth.
four.
Yeah.
She's the selling point of that show so far. So even if that means missing Sumo Hall, they would rather know where they stand and make a decision too early. So yeah, I would suspect in the next week we'll learn more, but I can't
I hope.
guarantee we will learn everything
Yeah.
because they might wait through that Niigata show to really let us know who's back and what they're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I we'll have to know by year-end climax, which is the next like notable show, the Gorkin, which is the 24th. So within the next, it'll probably be Niigata, Rabe. That's an interesting place. I don't usually see that. Or that Gorkin. That those will be the big ones if this week doesn't show anything, and if next week doesn't have a press conference.
Yeah, that's it. But till then, just work with what we got. So
We try our
we
half-ass
will
best.
try our half as best, and generally we try not to be half asleep. But I
It
cannot
happens.
guarantee. I had to watch some really bad sports today. Like I'm sorry. Uh, to put it in perspective, what I imagine people from Philadelphia felt watching
Ooh.
the Trust the Process Sixers is
That was
like
really
Chelsea.
funny to watch from an outsider.
Uh, Chelsea are like
Motherfuckers kept trusting.
they were champions of Europe.
Oh, that was the Man United match, wasn't it?
So Chelsea
Yeah,
were champions of Europe,
I saw a picture of that on my Instagram.
and today they got walked over by the worst Manchester United team in like a decade.
I
It's a
think
team
probably
full
more
of
than a
like
decade.
20-year-olds. It's a team full of 20-year-olds. Some of them don't look like they belong in the league. Like it is legitimately the trust the process Sixers because like half of this team will not be there when Chelsea are good again. It is just so painful and so unbelievably unfun. So I just want to go to bed. So um
Alex,
yeah,
you just gotta trust the process.
I cannot. We call it a project. The project is a word that's been thrown around about
Mm.
Chelsea. I'm like, what kind of project plays a 39-year-old at center
Oh
back?
man, the White Sox have been rebuilding for the past like 20 years. It's
Oh,
terrible.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like it's like, oh, it's a project, man. It's a project. We'll be good. And I'm like,
We're like 17, but
why is a 40-year-old starting in defense? If this is a project, push the 40-year-old.
yeah.
Otherwise, we are in win now mode. That doesn't seem to compute with a lot of people. So I just have to silently suffer this entire time. It's okay because this show, Stardom was good. Stardom is good
Yeah, and
again.
at least you're not me who supports Sheffield United. Um,
So funny. Like they are legitimately the worst
they're
team
dead
to
last.
have ever
Yeah,
been in the Premier League. Like they are
yeah.
legitimately historically.
We did sack our coach. Did we sack our coach?
Yeah, yeah, they did.
Yeah, the coach.
Heckenbottom, Paul Heckenbottom.
That is it really Heckenbottom? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
huh? Maybe we should get Sean Hickenbottom over there. Maybe he'll cook. He
Listen,
doesn't know
he's
shit
cooking
about
with
wrestling, but
NXT.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so don't feel too bad. Historically, like you said, the worst team in Premier League football.
Yeah. So, um,
All we
yeah,
need is like 6 points, though. All we need is like 2 wins, and then we are not last.
that's gonna be hard to come by. You probably do play Chelsea soon, though. That's like a free win there. Like I don't know, it'll be okay.
uh, Life is
But
pain.
that's yes. We'll be back next week. Hopefully at our normal time, so I won't be on the verge of death.
Mm,
But we'll talk about the stuff that's coming up. There's some interesting matches on these house shows. Hopefully, we'll have actual news to talk about though, and some fun stuff for Sumo Hall and maybe New Blood to dig into. But until then, it's time to close the show. If you
mm.
want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. If today shine tomorrow, you decide what you believe in. Joe.
Show.